Hello, Miss Bell's Algebra 2 class. I'm going to be taking you through the solving quadratics equation assignment that you guys have. I'm going to take you through at least half of these problems and kind of show you where to put the letters and whatnot for the little puzzle that you're solving here too. So let's take a look at letter M. And taking a look at letter M, the first thing that we want to do is to delineate our A, B, and C, because we are looking at this formula right here for our quadratic formula, where we're going to plug in B's, A's, and C's. So A goes here, B's go here, and C goes there. So in this equation, when we have a quadratic written in standard form, we have our A, B, and C here. So my A is 1, my B is -2, and my C is -8. I plug those numbers into where I see B's, A's, and C's. Working this problem out. You remember this is going to be, that first one, that B is a negative. It's a negative B, so it's going to be a -2, which is a +2. Do all the business you need to do underneath the square root symbol, and we end up with 4 plus 32, or 36. So we're going to have 2 plus the square root of 36 and 2 minus the square root of 36. Square root of 36 is 6, so 2 plus 6 divided by 2, and we have 2 minus 6 divided by 2. So our answers for M are going to be x will equal 4 and x will equal -2. So what you're going to do is find x equals 4, x equals -2. You'll find that right here, and you're going to put an M right there. Okay? Make sure you're showing your work here, or else she's not going to give you credit. So you might want to pause this as I'm going through the work, as you see me writing it down, or having it written down for you. Write all that stuff in here, squeeze it in there, or you can go on your own sheet of paper like I did, because I didn't have enough room. I wanted it to be somewhat neat. Going with letter T. Letter T, you'll notice that it is written here. I wrote it wrong at first. That's why you're going to see some scribbles. For some reason, I put 14 instead of 40, and that made a lot of headache for me, and I had to go back and change it to 40. So my A is 1, my B is -13, and my C is 40. I substitute those numbers into the quadratic formula, and then I end up with 13 plus or minus the square root of 9 divided by 2. So that would be 13 plus 3, the square root of 9 is 3, so 13 plus 3, so 16 divided by 2 gave me 8, and 13 plus minus 3 gives me 10, 10 divided by 2 gives me 5, so it should be 8 and 5. So you'll find on that last page an answer x equals 8, x equals 5, and you will put a T there. Going to letter O. We have our A, B, and C. Remember, B includes that negative right there. So our A is 3, our B is -14, and our C is 8. I plug in my A, B's, and C's into the quadratic formula. I end up with 14 plus or minus the square root of 100. Right here is where you probably want to pause it so you can jot all that down. All that divided by 6. So what that means is 14 plus 10 divided by 6, or 24 divided by 6 gives me 4. Or 14 minus 10 divided by 6, or that would give me, 4 over 6. Divide both the top and the bottom by 2, and you get 2/3. Okay, so you'll go to where x equals 4 and x equals 2/3, and you'll put that letter O there. Moving on to A. I'm just skipping every other row. Or no. Okay, I am still on this row. I chose this one because this one, you have to move this 3 over to the other side of the equation, or in other words, subtract 3 from both sides. So you're going to end up with, and I need to rewrite it, I got it right here, 4x squared plus 4x minus 3 equals 0. I moved it over. So my A is 4, my B is 4, and my C is negative 3. I plug in my A, B's, and C's here. I work it out, and I end up getting to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 64 divided by 8. Square root of 64 is 8, so I have negative 4 plus 8 divided by 8. This ends up being 4 over 8. That's 0.5 or a half. And then you have negative 4 minus 8 divided by 8, which is 12, negative 12 divided by 8, or I have several answers. This is the answer that's on your page, though. That could be, if you did it in your calculator and you had it in as a decimal, it'll be negative 1.5, or it could be negative 1.5 as a fraction, or you would leave it as an improper fraction as they did, negative 3 over 2. So you're going to want half and negative 3 over 2, and you're going to want to put an A there. Now going for the next row, I and F. I chose I because you had to do the most setup for I. And in I, notice that we want to get this 21x and this negative 9 over to the other side, right? So you could see that I did that. I had to subtract 21x from both sides and add a 9 to both sides in order to get this set to 0. So my A is 6, my B is negative 21, and my C is 9. I plug in my A, B's, and C's into the quadratic formula. You could see right there, that's a 21. Kind of wrote it small, so I wanted you to be able to see it clearly there. Ends up being x equals 21 plus or minus square root of 225 over 12. Square root of 225 is 15, so 21 plus 15 divided by 12 would be 3. So that's just 36 over 12. Or 21 minus 15 over 12 ends up being 6 over 12, or 1/2. So you're going to look for 3.5. So x equals 3, 3 equals 1/2, and you're going to want to put the letter I there. Then for letter F. Letter F is already set up for you, so you're going to just pick out your A, your B, and your C. So my A is 15, my B is 21, and my C is negative 18. I plug in those numbers into A, B's, and C's. I end up with, once you get there, negative 21 plus or minus the square root of 1,521 divided by 30. Square root of 1,521 is 39, so I'm going to take negative 21 plus 39 divided by 30. That ends up reducing down to 3/5. And then this one, you're going to have negative 21 minus 39 divided by 30. That reduces down to negative 2. So it would be you'd have negative 60 over 30, which would be negative 2. So you're going to want to find where x equals 3/5 and x equals negative 2, and you're going to want to put an F there. And then the other one that I would, these two, if I could set these up for you, this one's already set. Notice that there is no C. So your A is going to be 7, your B is going to be 3, and your C is going to be 0. So go ahead and plug those numbers into your quadratic formula, and you should be good. This one, I have to add a 3 to both sides in order to get rid of this over here. So when I do that, I also actually get rid of it on that side. So you're left with 0, so that's going to equal 0. So once again, you're going to have a C with 0, so your A is going to equal 4, your B is going to equal negative 8, and your C is going to equal 0 when you plug that in. And then hopefully you could solve the puzzle, what do baby parabolas drink? And hopefully you get your letters in the right place. Hopefully this was helpful too. Thanks.